What's going on, guys? My name is Russ and I help people rewrite their stories, and I wanted to talk a little bit more about the off day I was having yesterday. I woke up this morning on time, ready to go, and as you know from my previous videos, I start the day listing things I'm grateful for. And I think it was number 3 on today's list was I was grateful for the contrast that yesterday provided. And it's such a delightful little bit of synchronicity that I use the word contrast to describe yesterday, because I started listening to an Abraham Hicks track that I had on my phone, and they talk about contrast. And if you don't know about Abraham Hicks, Abraham is we'll say, multidimensional being that is channeled through Esther Hicks. And whether you believe that's just a marketing gimmick or if it's actually some interdimensional being channeled through Esther, you can take that or leave that. The information, the advice they give is worthwhile. And so that's what I want to talk about today, is this idea of contrast. Off days provide contrast for what you do and don't want. The contrast that you were born into is deliberately serving you. And it might be hard to wrap your head around that, especially when you're in the midst of one of those contrasting moments, as I was yesterday. And even as it was happening, I was clear in my head that it was happening, and I was able to remind myself that this was impermanent, that this is all impermanent, and that it will change. But that's not really that helpful in the moment. It wasn't, at least for me, but it kept me from spiraling further, I think. And maybe that's just one of those things that needs to be practiced, and when it happens again, I will remember that. And it might not seem like it, especially when you're in it, but contrast is a life-giving quality. If you were not able to evaluate contrast and see what you do want and what you don't want, the universe would not be able to expand. I know that's weird to think about, that you have such control over the universe, but it's true, you do. The good news is, whether you believe it or not, you were made to expand. That source inside of you, whatever you want to call it, soul, essence, awareness, is made to expand. And I'm always saying that consciousness can only ever expand. And once you realize that, once you've tasted that expansion, you know you won't want to go back. And even if you come to a point when you can decide, oh, I can do the right thing and expand, or I can try to shrink back, you won't be able to. There will be something inside of you needling at you that will prevent you from that contraction. And maybe that was what was happening yesterday. Maybe the essence, the source in me, knew that it was ready to expand, knew that it was ready for whatever the next step was, and this old meat bag just wanted to sleep. And that's where that contrast came from. When you feel that contrast, when you feel bad, that is a sure sign that you are out of alignment with the way Source sees you, with the way your inner self, your soul, whatever you want to call it, sees you. When you look in the mirror and you only feel negative emotions, you've lost the point of view that Source has about you. But when you look in the mirror and you feel good about yourself, you are right in alignment with how Source sees you. So here's the real kicker. Anytime you feel any negative emotion, that is a sure sign that you have derailed from the way Source sees you. Anytime you look in the mirror and feel any negative emotion, it means one thing. You, in your human, fleshy form, have derailed from the way Source, your higher self, your soul, sees you. And when you can connect with that consciously, man, you have activated this internal guidance system that will always show you when you are misaligned. You can always tell where you are right now in relation to that broader perspective. That broader perspective is the culmination of everything you've ever experienced. That broader perspective is your higher self, and your higher self is just you in the future returned to pure energy. Part of that pure energy has projected into your body right now, this fleshy meat suit, and is having experiences. And when you're having these experiences, you are constantly launching what they call rockets of desire. And I love that term from Abraham Hicks, rockets of desire. And what happens when you launch one of these rockets is that part of your source, part of your inner self, hops on that rocket and goes toward whatever it is that you want, whatever that thing is that you want. Life causes you to constantly give birth to new conclusions, and the expansion of everything that is a result of that experience. This is why it is so vitally important to be aware of your thoughts, because the things you think become things. Look around. This water bottle was an idea before it became a water bottle. Everything is a thought before it becomes a thing. You want to make sure that your thoughts are in alignment with that original source, with that higher self. And you'll know when they are. And even more obvious is when they aren't. And that will give you off days. And they can be uncomfortable if you look at them from that negative perspective. But if you see them as teaching mechanisms, then you can learn. And I'm not sure what I learned from yesterday. If I just had that off day so I could document it for you lovely viewers, then I think that's a pretty okay way to use an off day as a teaching experience. So it's hot and I am sweating in the pits, so I'm gonna go try to find some AC and maybe find something cool to drink. But I want you to take from this that off days can be teachers, and that they show you that where you are is not where you need to be. They show you that you are vibrationally out of alignment with that inner self, that inner awareness, that inner source, that inner soul, the God inside you, whatever you want to call it. So, my friends, that's all I got today. I wish you a day filled with peace, happiness, and loving kindness. And until next time, my friends, remember, be kind, be well, and be yourself. We'll talk soon, unless I blow away.